All right, now do you see it? Sorry, folks, we're having some technical difficulties. We're just going to see if you can stream it. Okay, let's see here. First, we'll put you in the. I'm a lowly guest. You look taller than me. I like this. So go ahead, do your thing, man. We are recording. Do your thing. This is all you.
Okay. Hello, world. My name is Ashley Collins, aka TheAuntOfDragons. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Breakup Diaries. So I have a very special guest on today. He's pretty popular. You probably have heard of him. Please introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
How are you doing, everybody? My name is J-ZILLA. You know what? I see people do this all the time when they come on my show. Now I understand why. Like, it's something about getting all that love and compliments. It's just, I can't, Yeah, so I have 3 podcasts, one in pre-production, 2 in post. The Urban Academia podcast, the stuff you see in the background there. It's also What the Frap podcast, and the next one coming out will be Redeemed Life podcast. So besides that, I'm just a regular old guy.
I've been seeing that recently with a lot of small podcasters getting bigger. They're having to repeat their stories over and over and over again. Do you find that annoying or more like uplifting?
It depends. Like, I understand why they do it. Like comedians and musical performers, right? That if you follow them, most likely you're gonna get the same general show. They are often making tweaks depending on what city they're in, or maybe a different set list. Like I think, what is it? Almost said The Walking Dead. The Grateful Dead. They're famous for literally every single show is a different set list, and that's kudos to them, right? Because that's not very easy to do. So for me, like when I pop in the podcast and they're telling me the story, I'm hearing it for the first time. You know what I mean? But for people who listen consistently, you're like, yes, we know your story. Come on with the show. So I can see both sides.
True. Okay. So, what are the pros and cons of having a podcast?
Meeting people is my first favorite thing to do. Okay. Talking, even though it seems like my first, is my second favorite thing to do. I love connecting with different people, different mindsets, different ideologies, theology, different political, spectrums. I love it all. Like, I'm a guy who just loves information and trying to fit it all together as a puzzle to see, does it fit, does it not? How can we make it fit? What needs to change? So that's my favorite thing. Did you ask why I hated it too? Like the cons?
Yeah.
The cons is this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, my wife designed this. It's one of her original designs, Urban Academia there. She does intro music. This is original music, outro music. The engagement sometimes can be tedious, right? Because some people are like, wait, why are you talking to me? So it can be very mean at times out there in the comment section. But yeah, I hate I set up my own cameras, lighting, mic, sound, all of it, and I'm not very good at it. So it's like, I don't know if it's working or not, but that's the con. I would, in a perfect dream world scenario, I would just sit and talk, right? I'd be actually in the presence of people too. Like, this whole digital space is convenient because I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you're currently in Florida, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but man, if I had the resources, I'd fly to Florida, right? We'd have an actual daggum studio. We're just sitting on the couch and just yammering at each other, right? And we'll have somebody else do the sound, someone else do the camera. So that's the cons for me. It's all the work. Yeah.
This isn't one of the questions that I sent to you, but I've been pondering a lot lately. It might be different. Well, no, you watched Jerry Springer as a preteen.
Unfortunately,
Do you think that podcasting kind of like hinders you from being a TV show host?
hinders you. No, I think the dynamics of entertainment, the paradigms have just shifted so vastly. Like
Hmm.
we've only had internet in everyone's hand for a relatively small amount of time. It's funny to see Viacom and TNT, Turner Networks, and all that stuff laugh at YouTube and Vine and Twitter. Who cares about that stupid bird, right? And now it's like the space to even those major companies have YouTube channels
Yeah.
because they realized they were leaving a lot of market share as far as free, free free advertising on the table, right? Free eyeballs, and they can actually make ad space for themselves if they get to a certain level, which they know they can do because all you have to do is have the money, resources, the infrastructure to, especially in the digital spaces, to be able to, woo some of those people back to them, essentially, because
Exactly.
people were making money off of that anyway. Why not? Yeah.
Um, our 4 day work. I'm gonna say that again. Our 4 day work weeks practical.
Ooh, that depends. That depends, young TheAuntOfDragons. Ooh. And you sent me this one beforehand. I should have had it. I've been going back and forth, right? Because at one point, like, do we want 14-hour days, 7 days a week? We all agree that that's wrong. That used to exist, right? A couple of guys got together and was like, okay, maybe we shouldn't, kill our workers because I'm not going to get in there and do the work, right? So they scaled back all the way. Then we get the 40-hour work week. Then it was a matter of pay, right? Which is, I think Henry Ford was like overpaying, and people were other, millionaires and billionaires of that time were upset with him because they were like, if you do that now, I have to do it to compete for good people, engineers all the way to the workers and janitors. And he was like, well, what use is it to have them make a thing that they can't themselves purchase? So that was his thing. Like, pay them a lot of money. They go buy the cars, makes him more money. He can expand, make even more money, right? And that cycle, right? Somewhere around Nixon to Reagan, things changed in this country about the tax code, right? They were paying, the top 1% were paying 90 to 95% in taxes. Crazy, right? But there are a lot of incentives. If you guys do XYZ, maybe you help pay for this bridge, you help the police and all that, we give you X amount back. And that worked for a long time in this country. Then it changed to trickle down economics, right? That was started way before Reagan, but Reagan is the guy who got it through. And I think he hit, I mean, I don't try to judge anybody personally for their politics. I think he had the good ideal of like, I want to be competitive here in America. So let's make sure that these people who are creating the jobs aren't bogged down by all these taxes, right? It's not fair, especially since they are paying most of the taxes, which is still true today, right? So that happens, and so the ideal of that working is he trusted that your, Bill Gates and Elon Musk types were gonna just, pay the workers accordingly. So what happened is cost of living went up, production went up, profits went up for the company, wages flatline. And it
Yeah.
has just been this and this for the last 30 years or so. True, more than that. So the 4 day work week, you hear a lot of this. This works in smaller companies in smaller countries because it does allow people time to read, to sleep, to spend time with their kids, and do all kinds of things. I'm a father of four with ages from 5 to 19. Like I have to literally I have to work X amount of time, right? I got to make sure everybody gets dropped off and picked up, right? That has to be accounted for. Got to stop for gas. I got to sleep at least 4 to 6 hours, right? I'm building a company from the ground up, like Miss TheAuntOfDragons here. So sometimes I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, okay, I did spend an hour and a half with the boys, so maybe I'll go this weekend and spend time with the girls. Like I'm literally having to figure out who to give my love and affection to, you know. So I think if you fix wages, first of all, if you fix wages, there's no need to go to a 4-day work week. But this did happen. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much. This did happen once in our country that we moved from 7 days to 6, and then from 6 days to 5, and moving to 4 days is possible. I think because I used to test engines for General Motors, and then I went over to Nissan and worked. Their whole thing is we used to have one shift, a shift, and then we added a shift as we got bigger, and then we started working around the clock. So now there's 3 shifts, right? So as long as you keep a certain amount of people working in those shifts, around the clock, you can hit your production numbers. I think the 4-day work week, if done smartly, you'll probably have to hire more people, but the factories can be open as many days as they want to. You just keep shifting the workers, right? That's one way that could be sort of a compromise. But yeah, I don't think it's really much about 4-day work week versus 5-day. I think wages, cost of living, and quality of life is what we need to work on as a country. Sorry for that long answer.
No. That was I really didn't think about that at all. I didn't think about that at all. That you opened my mind to something. Okay.
Ooh,
Let's talk about
it's the
movies.
candle. It's the candle.
What was the last great black film, and why has it declined?
Ooh, if I answer that, that means I'm assuming that black cinema has declined,
Well,
right?
okay, so specifically the magical black Negro. What's the name of that movie?
Oh,
The
no clue.
Society of the Natural Magical Black Negro, or whatever.
Okay,
Why
and
did
that's a
that
movie.
decline? Why did that flop so badly?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's kind of like what was that movie? Oh my goodness, guy, he's in his garage. He's working. I can see the guys. Him, Danny Glover. They work for a call center. He uses quote unquote white voice, which I hate that more than the Nazis sometimes. Sorry, like the idea that like, oh, if you use your appropriate language and speak with a certain cadence, that's your white voice. It's like what? It's just proper English. But I can't remember the name of that movie. But that flopped. I think it's funny. Dave Chappelle had a joke about it. He was like, oh, why didn't y'all support that movie? It was all black cast, black writers, black director. And Dave Chappelle goes, we were supporting that movie by being silent.
I
It wasn't that good.
haven't heard that joke.
It wasn't that good. And so I don't know about that movie. I'm not even familiar with it, which tells you something, right? Um, but yeah, I don't know. The last black film I saw, you can consider
That you
black
enjoyed.
that I enjoyed. Ooh, Netflix. They clone Tyrone. Social
I
commentary,
heard that was good.
performance.
I heard that was
Oh, the Upper
good.
Dragons, you gotta watch it. It is
I
so
heard that
good.
was good.
It is so good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is so good. Yeah, yeah, that one. Starring Jamie Foxx. A couple of newcomers, they did really well. Who's the other guy? Yeah, Jamie Foxx. I don't know who the actual guy was, but yeah, go watch.
Why do
They
you think
clone
it's so
Tyrone.
hard to make a good, and I'm speaking specifically for black film because Japan is doing great. China is doing phenomenal. Um, India, Iran, the Bollywood films, they're doing great. Why do you think it's so difficult to make a great black film right now?
Hmm. I think it's difficult in general in Hollywood to make a good film, right? But I guess we have to define what good film is. Like for me, pushing the envelope, using lies to tell a certain truth, right? I don't. I think it's difficult for Hollywood, and I know you, right? We've had some conversations, private and public. So I think you would say all the wokeism, right? I hate that term, but it's been co-opted, and to the Victors go to spoils. You know, the right is good at that, right? I think the same reasons Hollywood moved from the East Coast to California in the first place is why you see people moving into more independent spaces. Because nobody wants an artist, especially. First off, people don't like being told what to do. Artists, especially, don't like being told what to do, right? So, what happened on the East Coast in cinema is, of course, you had a bunch of people fleeing from the war and oppression and all that.
For people who don't know what you're talking about, could you explain what happened?
Oh, so World War II, right? A huge Jewish population and other minorities sought refuge in America, and a lot of times it's Ellis Island and all up and down the coast, right? Because that's just the first place. But what happened there, and this is after, like, I think Robert, is it Robert? No, no, no. What's JFK's dad name? Oh man, Joe
I don't
Kennedy.
know.
He was heavily into films, and so were a lot of guys like him. And so it was a lot of it. It started off, like anything does. It's small, it's niche, right? And that's when films are good because you can take chances. Because it's 10 people watching. You know, yeah. Let's decapitate somebody. Let's throw somebody off a building. Let's go crazy, right? Real art. So as that starts to change, as they got bigger, like anything else, it's like, okay, now we're so big and got so many eyes on us. Let's try to appeal to the most amount of people. So with that comes a lot of rules. Well, now you can't use certain words, you can't show certain things. Let's keep the stories in the this range right here. And so what happened is a lot of people fled to California, of all places, a little place called Los Angeles, start Hollywood, so they can have that freedom to do that. And then they became big, and then they end up making the same mistake. And I think that's why you see people going into more independent places. Freedom, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why do you think that people are enjoy Invincible so much?
The show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I have not seen season 2, right? I usually let everything
At all?
pile up. Right. But aren't you jealous? Aren't you jealous? I don't know anything that's happened. I know nothing. And now I'm gonna binge watch it after it's all out there. I don't have to wait week to week. So if you're patient in the beginning, you can go ham in the end, right? Invincible, I think same reason why you like many comic book derived film and TV shows, right? It's a pretty solid story, right? The hero's journey and all that. It also has some elements of, of course, betrayal. We love that, right? It has some elements of the unknown, things coming from out here now to Earth, and like, what do we do with that as humans? How do we cope? How do we adjust? If we adjust too hard, take people's rights away, work in secrecy for the people's good. You know what I mean? Like, it's got all those elements that we love. We love the tea, right? We love violence. I mean, yeah, it's got all of those elements. Solid structure as far as writing goes when telling a story. They say it's a hero journey, and they deliver every single trope from the hero journey because that's what we expect, and they still find ways to surprise you. But yeah, I think this is like people's way of doing shadow work, right? Imagine if your dad, right, your evil stepfather or whatever the Frap, right? Imagine if he was actually an alien from outer space and he doesn't really love you. He was just sent here to take over the earth and make a kid, right, to control it. Like, right? So that's shadow work. For anybody who's not familiar with that, it's just engaging with the side of yourself that um likes to walk on the wild side, so to speak. So if we play around in these safe spaces of film and literature, then most of the times we don't do it, right? Because like some of the craziest people are authors who are like, I'm a homicidal maniac, and me writing about it keeps me from doing it in the real world, right? So I think that's why I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. That's so interesting. Interesting. Not the homicidal thing, but that sounds so bad. But I did find it very frustrating how they're
Mm,
like doing new episodes like every 3 weeks, every month. Like I found it frustrating, but I was like saying to myself, I we did this when we were younger.
yeah,
So we should be used to this. But like we're so indoctrinated into the immediate gratification where you can just like binge watch everything. Like the anticipation makes me frustrated, but it also makes it kind of satisfying, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. Like you familiar with Sting, the singer?
Yeah.
Like he's famous for like being able to have tantric relations for like days on end, right? This ideal of just holding back your self like immediate gratification for something crazy huge later, right? I'm like that
Hmm.
with movies and TV shows. I like to wait till like the theater start emptying out and it moves from the big theater to the little crummy theater. And I go early morning on a
Oh,
Sunday by myself. Like, I always pretend like I'm a rich guy who's just rented out the theater because I like cinema. Right.
oh
But yeah,
no.
I like waiting. Like I do that with anime all the time. Like, oh man, this show is so good. How many episodes? New? Nope. I'll check back in 2 years. Right?
Really?
And like literally, yeah, I was setting an alarm like a year or so later. And like literally I'll be going about my life and a random alarm goes off and it was like, check out so what, I'm a spider or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, let's check it out. And boom, I got 2 seasons waiting for me, dubbed, right? So yeah, I'm all about like holding off for the now, sacrificing the now for a bigger payoff later.
Really? Okay. Well, we're the opposite because I want to know right now. Do they die in the end? You
Yeah,
know. um, what does save the cat mean?
I don't know. This is not something I'm familiar with. You have to educate me on this.
Oh, I sent that to you as a.
Man, listen, I think we have different algorithms, right?
Oh.
Like, I don't know, like, um, so like I see the books, right? I don't know.
So save the cat just basically means a simplistic way of how to write a good story. The
You know what?
motivation is I'm looking at the window right now. There's a cat on on the tree and I need to go save it. The motivation is just to save the cat.
Mhm.
So I asked that to ask, how do you write a great story? How do you just simply save the cat?
That is so awesome. So, okay, when I looked it up, I kept seeing stuff about screenwriting. I was like, well, it can't be that. I was looking for some like internet term, like save the cat. Like, no, I don't know what that means. Yeah, that's interesting. I went through a book, The Story Grid. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So they have a corresponding podcast. And have you done the podcast?
No, not with them, no.
Oh my goodness. Like get on, I mean, I don't know about like showing up and actually doing an interview or anything, but what they do in the podcast is they literally go through like editors see it, right? How to professionally edit your own writing, whether it be for a screenplay or for cinema, TV show, whatever. And it teaches you how to be an editor, essentially, right? Um, so what they did was they went by step through Silence of the Lambs and the book and The Wizard of Oz, the book, and they just go step by step. Here's what you're seeing. Here's what you look for in these great stories. So the story grid, they actually have a website where you can go to and download their like framework. And so if you have a new story idea and you just have the beginning and the end, you can fill those things up in, and then it shows you how to like fill in the rest of the story. Essentially, I mean, it is really good. The elements of a good story: beginning, middle, end. Right, figure out the genre. I think it's one of the rules of Story Grid, right? If it's going to be a murder mystery, you better show me a daggone body in the beginning, right? And I better
Yeah.
know by the end who the Frap did it. Otherwise, what's the point, right? So don't overthink it and try to like, actually, nothing happened. This was all a dream. No, no. Do not do that. So like, yeah, it's basically giving the people what you want. How can I portray or say or get out of my head and heart and my experiences what I want to say? How do I tell my truth in an interesting way that people want to receive it, right?
I've been
So I
struggling
think,
a lot with that lately because I know how it starts and I know how it ends and I know the
mhm,
middle, but I've been very hesitant of like, will anyone find this interesting?
yeah, you can't think about that. You can't think about this. This is a made up thing. Okay, the 10% rule. There are about 8.5 billion people on the planet now. That means 10% of those people want what you have to offer. You just got to find them, right? So you think 8.5 billion people, that's 850 million people want what you have to offer, Miss the Aunt of Dragons. It's just a matter of finding them. Like if you think about like a Joe Rogan show, like Joe Rogan just sitting around with his buddies in the beginning. Like I watched that show from when he was doing it from his house, right, on some crappy internet, right, no background or anything. He was just talking to his friends. And you know what people wanted? They wanted a place where I'm not gonna feel judged, or this guy is not trying to pretend. He's calling himself an idiot, right? He's not afraid to say what's actually on his mind and apologize later if need be. Like that drew a lot of people in, and 10 years later, he gets $100 million check written out to him. You know, so yeah, I believe that there's at least 10% of people on the planet at any given time that want what you have to offer. So you have to write, I think, first for yourself, and then all these other things that you learn from classes and places like things like Save the Cat and the writers grid or whatever, right? Those help sharpen your actual skill set. And so it's basically you trying to give a piece of yourself to people who are interested in receiving, and people who don't think they're interested, but you bring them over anyway, right? The technical stuff is just how to do that efficiently. You know, your spelling and grammar is straight, right? Which AI is taking care of most of that, you know. So
Yeah.
I think if you're an artist, a real artist, man, you just do it for you, and your passion and all that will it's infectious. I mean, it just is, right? The authentic you, that's what's going to sell. So there you go.
That was very motivational. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Um, um, should we pay college athletes? And also, who am I betting on for March Madness? Because I need money.
Oh man, it's almost over. It's too
Wait,
late.
is it? Did Purdue win?
Say what? It's like the final. Is it final four or down to the finals?
Is it
Oh
Purdue?
man. No. Did you fill out a bracket?
I need to. Who am I putting money
Oh,
on?
wait. It's too late to fill out a bracket. You can get
No,
some
no, it's
in-game
not.
action. It's the final four. So I think
No,
Alabama is
it's
playing
too
UConn for the men's
late.
side. Yeah, because like so for the men's side, I'm pretty sure it's Alabama and UConn. I haven't been paying attention, but NC State
Really,
is
Alabama?
darling.
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
and
they were doing
NC State
poorly.
and Purdue are playing right now.
Oh, Purdue. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Purdue
Go
is up.
Purdue.
Purdue is up by 6. Why
I
Purdue?
don't even know
What are your ties to
what
Purdue?
state that's in, but go Purdue.
What you supposed to be like a Miami fan or something? Florida State.
I'm a fan of money. I have a gambling problem. I win, but I have a gambling problem.
Oh no. Help now. There should be a number scrolling across the lower third. Yeah.
But should we pay college athletes?
Yes,
Why?
because they are performing, they're offering a service that nets billions of dollars every year, and they get in return. I mean, if you think about a private school, like I went to Vanderbilt, that's a private school in the SEC.
Oh wow.
So at the time, tuition was like 42,000, right? But I was
Yeah.
on scholarship, so I didn't have to pay a dime, if anything. So if you think about 4 years at Vanderbilt, you know, that's what 160 grand or so. So 160 grand over 4 years, because they say the scholarship, that's what you're getting paid, right? But that 160
Mhm.
grand over 4 years for something that makes billions every year. And the coaches get paid, right? The people who paint the fields get paid, cut the grass get paid, people who sell the beers, people who clean the toilets. Everybody gets paid except the people that are bringing in the audience. So could you imagine Brad Pitt being like, you know what? You really did teach me how to be a great actor. Don't pay me a dime. It's like, but Brad, we made 300 million off a video, off a movie that we shot for 20 million. Nah, keep it. The experience is what it's all about. And family. You understand? That's what they say to college athletes. I got that speech, right? It's about family, right? We got to stick together and try hard. But as soon as the coach gets an offer for a higher pay, a la Deion Sanders or, Nick Saban, bye-bye. Nick Saban actually had in his contract, whatever the highest paid coach is, pay me $1 more.
Mhm.
So yeah, they should get paid. And it was really brilliant by the NCAA to feel the pressure from the outside of paying them. So what they did was brilliant. They said, okay, wait. We're going to allow players to make their own money. Because when I was in school, if I got a free haircut, that back in the day, way back in the day, 2002 and 3, right? If I got a free haircut for like 10, $15, I could lose my $42,000 a year scholarship. So now the NCAA is saying, you know what? We're going to allow you to make money off your own name, image, and likeness. They still aren't paid by universities.
Uh-huh.
Now, boosters can raise money to pay companies that can pay them. But yeah, I mean, these kids were in commercials. They're selling jerseys and sneakers and socks and handbags and backpacks and not getting $1 off of that because it was against the school's rules. But the school, in the meanwhile, like that money's going towards, duck pond at UNM or new library on Harvard's campus. Yes, you should pay the athletes.
So, what's the incentive to go to class then? What's the incentive to get a degree then?
Listen, man,
What?
you
Why
asking the
don't we
wrong
just
person.
make a whole other league? This is. I don't know that much about sports. I like to pretend that
No,
I
you
do.
you got it.
What
You
if
got it.
we just what if
Yeah.
we just make a minor league of um post high school seniors
Mm-hmm.
that don't have to sit through a stupid biology class because they're none of them are going to be biologists, who don't have to sit through a stupid literature class because none of them are going to write a book.
Yeah.
um why don't we just make a minor league of these
Mhm.
kids, or I guess adults, who
Adults.
who whose goal is to go into the NBA, NFL, etc., NHL,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to forcing them to sit through class that they're not going to show up to and paying tuition that they have to pay for because they're getting paid to pay for their tuition.
Let me ask you something. An engineer who didn't go to college, who's been working on cars, let's say, for 30 years,
Hmm.
versus newly minted, you know, graduate who just finished their master's in engineering, right? Who would you trust to work on that car more?
The person who didn't go to college.
Yeah, because of real experience. That's how we used to work, right?
Hmm.
This is just another industry.
Hmm.
Right now, college could be free. You get I don't know, the 100 best biology teachers and so on and so forth, right? Professors. You put them in front of a camera and then you make it available for people who want to take advantage of that. Like we could absolutely do that. Like there was a lot of
Yeah.
homeschool. There was a lot of there's 5 people in this town. They all got 3 kids. We'll put them in a group and teach them, right? But
Yeah.
college is an industry. It's big business, right? And so yeah, we could separate it and make it its own thing because it absolutely is the minor league for the NFL. We don't have a G League that so NBA has a G League. They have European leagues, right? But NFL does it, right? And they kind of like it like that because you put these guys through these workouts and these crazy, scenarios and games, and you build them into men, and then that helps their product once they get to the NFL. But yeah, it's if you separate it, then your enrollment goes down. And a lot of times, what they've done is they put up a bunch of rules that these places that are you know competing against universities that are competing against each other. Based on enrollment and graduation rates and what kind of jobs, and then the funnel of alumni money going back donated back to the program. That's the cycle, right? So if you take them out, you start to detach it, and now I'm not as rah about Alabama University anymore. Like I could go here and get an education, but that school's better. Why wouldn't I go
Yeah.
there? It's like, no, come here. Our football team is great, right?
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of things going on, but it's all money. Unfortunately, it's all money. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly,
I know.
exactly.
Uh-oh.
I don't think
Do it, do it, do it,
I
do it.
meant to send this to you. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Ask away.
Have you repainted your nails?
No. Oh man. Okay, I see where you're going. Sorry out there. No, I have not. I've had no desire to do so. So
Why
no.
are they pushing these athletes to be so feminine?
Who's the they? Ooh.
Who is
Ooh.
they?
Who is they? Um,
Who is
I like telling the story. Are you familiar with? Someone asked me what I wanted to do. I said I wanted to be the color blue. And it was like, okay, what the frap does that mean, right? Frap, by the way, is a word from Vanderbilt. We talking to your audience now. We had a no cursing policy under Coach Bobby Johnson. So the F word and crap, put it together. You can get your expression out and not have to run after practice. So, anywho, frap. Um, yeah, the color blue. Back in the day, there used to be 3 options for blankets for babies. There was white, blue, and pink. And it was randomly distributed, right? Sometimes people began saying, "Ooh, give me the white one," because white was considered pure, angelic, right? New, like snow, right? So they had a surplus. This company had a surplus in pink and blue blankets. So they were like, "Well, what do we do with this surplus?" He was like, let's see. Blue for boy, girls can get whatever's left over. You know what? We'll tell the hospitals to tell the mothers that blue is for boys and pink is for girls. Now, around that time, we were having slightly more girls than boys, but it was evenly distributed, right? Oh, it's a boy here, blue blanket. Oh, it's a girl here, pink. So that's something that a company started to save their own necks. That is just seeped into the psyche of Americans, and I dare say the world. So when you think about blue, at least it used to be, when you thought about blue shirt, blue hat, you think boy, and pink, you think girl. So that's why I say I want to be the color blue. Same thing with the diamond industry. They were about to go under until they came up with a brilliant strategy. We'll tell them that diamonds are a woman's best friend. Diamonds are forever, right? If you want to get married, it needs to have a diamond. That's just ad. And it actually increase. Look at you, Princess Cut Canary. Thank you. Increase the value of these diamonds, right? Now we can make them,
Yeah.
and you can see like the stocks are going down. So yeah, those are the things that led to that. So you talk about the they. I think it's just a bunch of theys who want to make money and they want to consolidate power, right? If I can change the mindset of a person, I don't have to put them in chains anymore. I own them, right?
Yeah.
So first you
Yeah.
say, hey, it's cool to be you. Hey, it's cool if you want to do this. Hey, it's cool if you, and then they keep adding stuff on, which is the next new thing, which I guarantee you for the guys who participate in that, there's an increase now in the purchase of nail polish.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's
And the
very
people who are
interesting.
mad at that sort of thing, you say, oh, this is why we got to teach our boys to hunt and fish, right? And how to skin a rabbit a good American way, right? But what
Do you know
goes
how
on?
to skin a rabbit?
Oh yeah, I'm
No,
from
you
Texas,
don't.
country boy. Yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah. Hunting, fishing.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. Yeah. On the other side, knives, guns, ammunition, rope, fishing rods, tackle boxes, all that stuff increases. So this is working. When you say they, anytime you see a guy go, hey, it's okay to wear nail polish, makeup products, zoop, as far as profit. But the people who are upset at that sort of thing, you need to get your boys in Boy Scout and teach them how to tie a knot. Those products, zoop. So it seems like the they are all the
Oh,
same to me. That's my opinion. I don't know.
oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, watch the markets, follow the money, Miss TheAuntOfDragons. It talks a lot.
That makes so much sense, though.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay,
real
okay.
hustle is the fight.
How often do people come up to you and say thank you?
Believe it or not, quite a bit. Like, are you
Hmm.
saying for like holding doors open and like I'm Southern, so I'm here in New Mexico, and they're not really used to yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, and especially even in traffic. When I see somebody, coming a little bit faster than me, I just slow down and let them get over. And they're like sometimes they like, or wait, what's happening? What are you doing? I can go? You let me in? It's like, yeah, you can go ahead, right? So I get the thank you wave in the cars. Like, yeah, my mother really worked hard on making all three of her children value kindness, regardless of what's going on, regardless of how people are treating you. Be positive, you know. Things come in waves. So if you're feeling down, just know that up roller coaster is coming, and try to stay consistent of what you're outputting, because what you get in is going to be a random assortment. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Um, how do you make a great hero?
Ooh, heroes aren't made; heroes are born. No, I don't know. Well, that sounds like a good tagline. This
No,
summer,
that was good. That was
heroes are not made; they're born. Huh? Huh? Yeah. Making a good hero. You can teach. I think if you teach people to lean towards discipline, right? Sacrifice those shows today so you have a better time tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Save. Don't overspend. All these things, like heroes come in many different forms. So I think if you teach people about what the true meaning of bravery is, right? Because it's impossible to be brave unless you're first afraid. So it's a whole paradox, right? Bravery is just overcoming fear. So that means you have to be afraid. You can't be brave unless you're afraid. If you're a psycho and you go running head first, in the front of the line in a war, like you're not brave. You're just out of your mind. There's a difference. But the people who are shaking in their boots and peeing themselves and puking, and then soon as they get the opportunity, they go out and fight the enemy, those people are brave, right?
I was listening to something, I think it was yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying how Clark Kent is more interesting than Bruce Wayne because
Mm-hmm.
it is a discussion that, and maybe we can argue about this. Robert Pattinson is a terrible Batman. I know. I love Twilight too. I love Twilight, but they were saying how the actor from Jack Reacher, I don't know his name. I'm so sorry.
Ooh, is
Um,
it?
he wants to audition to be the next Batman, which I think is a fantastic idea. And they're like, he has too much range to be Batman because Bruce Wayne is just stoic. But I
No.
think that I don't.
Let's argue. Let's go. Because comic
Okay.
book anime, this is right up my alley. I much rather talk about this than politics, right? Yeah. Okay. What? Oh my god. Where do I even start with that? First of all, there's
Do you? Who? Okay, so we can start with who is the best Batman.
Ooh, the
And
best.
we will not stop. We will stop being friends if you say the wrong answer.
Oh, that's too much pressure. I'm staying. I'm not answering. Nope. I'm not willing to risk the friendship.
Who's the best Batman?
Well, whoever you like, I guess.
Oh no, you can
No,
say it. You can say it.
for me, I'm an old guy. Okay, I'm pushing 40. I would say, I mean, I grew up with Adam West, which was so bad that when we saw, you know, Michael Keaton, it was just amazing to me. And the idea of Batman is that Bruce Wayne and Batman are one thing, right?
Hmm.
The newer iterations after the New 52, they kind of pushed it to more of a, Batman is the true man and Bruce Wayne is his mask. It's like, no, it's two halves. Like it's yin yang, right? It's two halves. And Bruce Wayne was always kind of quirky, right? Peculiar, because like billionaires are, right? But fun. He's fun. He's funny. He's charming. He gets the ladies. The guys are jealous. Everything, right? Right. He's tipping, homeless people, and they're like, "Hey, my man," you know what I mean? So he's
Yeah.
very affable. Batman does not play. That's stoic. That's I'm gonna whisper to you. You got one chance. Where is he? And if you don't answer, then I gotta show you the wrath side. I got two levels. I got low intimidation and wrath, right? So
Yeah.
it's the idea of shadow work, right? If you ignore the Batman side of yourself, it starts to eat away at the Bruce Wayne side of yourself. So that's why I hated the newer ones where they make Bruce Wayne this. But what I like, I think what they're doing is there is an animation out there, Batman Year One, that covers the first
I
year
saw
of Batman. Yeah. So the Batman with Robert Pattinson is Batman Year Two. So he's a little clumsy. He's emo-ish. It's like, uh, uh, teen
I didn't
Bruce Wayne
like
and
that.
Batman.
I
I
didn't
know,
like
but
it.
you should get excited. See the future, right? Because what they're headed to is him becoming Batman, which Bruce Wayne, very light, affable, funny, awesome. Batman, don't play. And they really did showcase his intelligence. Like, I hate when people, like Ben Affleck's Batman, is this is his idea of stealth. Like he's just looking around, right at the party, and he takes this big VCR looking thing and that's how he does espionage. No, like Batman is supposed to be a super genius. That's supposed to be a superpower. Like he can think of scenarios and ways to address things unlike anybody else. Right? That's how he's
Hmm.
able to match up with some of these supervillains because he is smart. You know, but yeah, you need to be highly intelligent. You need to be fun as Bruce Wayne, and you need to be brutal as Batman. Like if you don't have those three things, I think um, Michael Keaton did a real good job of like, hey, you want to go out for dinner or something? Like let's get, you know what I mean? As Bruce Wayne, but as Batman, it was just stiff, straight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even this is close because even what's his face? Come on, help me out.
Christian
Batman
Bale.
Begins. Christian Bale. Yeah, he was a good Batman, but he wasn't the best Bruce Wayne. He had moments where he was pretending to be Bruce Wayne. I'm sleeping in a board meeting, right? I got two chicks sitting lap by lap in my ridiculous car, and I'm swimming in the pool. God tells me to get out the pool. I'm like, I'm buying a hotel. Now what? You know what I mean? Like he pretended to be, but that's supposed to be who Bruce really is, So Christian Bale, Michael Keaton. And then I do like Robert Pattinson's rendition. There. Who's yours?
I agree with you. Christian Bale, Michael Keaton.
Oh, so we're
But
still
I'm
friends?
also biased because like I liked looking at Val Kilmer. But
No, not Nickelback.
that's just me being a girl. That's just me being a
Oh,
girl.
oh,
It was nice to look at him in the suit.
no, I
and
understand.
and
I
um
can tell
and
you on
Robin,
VHS,
oh, that was nice to look at.
Chris O'Donnell, who was hot off of Three Musketeers, right? But I get
Oh,
it. I
oh,
get it. Like Nicole Kidman and Uma Thurman. Come on, man. I can't tell you my VHS how many times I'm like looking around, rewind, watching the wrong things, son.
okay. So, where can people like you, follow you, stalk you, all that fun stuff?
Oh man. Oh man. You can go to studiogwb.com and you can shop our online store. Our podcasts are there. You can chat with me, whatever. All of that is in one spot.
You guys
Yeah.
have a lot of stuff coming up right now.
What's that?
I see that you guys have a lot of stuff coming up for the summer.
Oh, oh, you saying like the book club and stuff
Mhm.
like that? Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. We try to stay busy. Yeah, me
You
and
guys are
Royce,
very busy,
me
which
and
is
Royce
good.
were
No,
kind of
that's a good problem. That's a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah, trying to grow a little bit. Me and Royce were going back. Royce from Royce's Rant. We were going back and forth with like, like man, I gotta get on the show. It's like, yeah, I know we got plenty to talk about. We should get on. And literally, we just randomly one day jumped on. Let's just do it. Let's just jump out the window, right? And that's what led me to you, which is awesome. I can't thank him enough for linking us up.
Oh,
And thank you so much
oh
for having me.
no, thank you. I always feel like I'm bothering people, but I always try to expand my mind. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for those of you who watched till the end. You don't get a prize, but thank you guys so much for watching.
Peace.